I will say that every day I hear from another patient, I know I shouldn't eat these foods, but, or I know it's bad for me, but. I will tell you these 5 foods I eat on the regular. And it's funny because we demonize foods for whatever reason. I don't know, there's so much misinformation out there. But even, from physicians and nutritionists, I hear it too. So I'll tell you what my 5 things are, and they might surprise you. I don't know. First, I'm gonna say pasta. I love pasta. I like real pasta. I don't like the whole wheat pasta. I don't like the bean pastas. I just don't like the texture. And you know what? Pasta can be part of a meal that is nourishing. The key is, right, nutrient density, which I talk about a lot, but really it's like when you focus on consuming mostly whole unprocessed foods. So you have pasta. I mean, I had pasta last night. It was amazing with mushrooms and greens. I had broccoli rabe and Swiss chard and garlic, and I made a cashew cream sauce to go with it. Oh my God, it was so good and packed with nutrients. So that's the thing. You can't villainize one particular food group. Second one is bread. I love bread. I love a good bread. Yeah, I think that sourdough bread, you can choose bread. I'm all about reading the ingredients and, again, looking at the foundation of what you consume, your foundational foods, which are fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds. If you're eating those foods as the foundation, as the baseline of what you consume, then really every food has a place. And there's nothing wrong with some bread. Bread is good. Again, it's that balance of what you consume. Potatoes. I don't even understand what the problem is with potatoes. I mean, potatoes are good, whole potatoes. If you eating a potato with the skin on, or even without the skin, a real potato. I'm talking about potato chips or French fries. Those shouldn't be like the staple of your diet. Not to say an occasional French fry here and there isn't bad, but the key is really, again, foundational. I don't know why people say potatoes are bad. They have vitamins and minerals. They have fiber. They're beneficial. Potatoes are good. Another one I hear all the time is soy. We've got to let go of this soy thing. When you look at the cultures, in, say, East Asia, where they consume a lot of soy of all forms, when they switched their dietary pattern towards the Western version of what we consume, their cancer rates went up, their longevity went down, their heart disease went up, all of these things. Soy, when you consume soy is actually a very nutritious, very helpful food, and especially for women. There are studies that show that it actually decreases risk of breast cancer. And if you're in perimenopause and menopause, phytoestrogens can be really powerful in helping balance those hot flashes. So soy, absolutely soy. So what did I say? Pasta, bread, potatoes, soy. The 5th one. This is one I get a lot too. Coffee. What's wrong with coffee? Coffee is actually really good. Coffee has polyphenols. That dark color in coffee is actually great for your gut health, and it's a great antioxidant. In fact, there's a study that shows that people that consume coffee up to 3 cups a day have better brain health, less risk of dementia. Now, granted, when I have my coffee, I have actual coffee. I know sometimes I look at people's coffee, my brother, don't tell him I said, but it's cream, sugar, and coffee. So really the coffee is the part that's really beneficial. So I truthfully like my coffee with a little bit of soy milk. There's that soy again. Or maybe a little oat milk. And that actually is really good for you. So have you heard any of these foods are bad for you? I would love to hear your take. On a serious note though, I find that a lot of these food rules keep us in this pattern of being stuck because we always have this constant guilt. And I will say it happens a lot with my patients. Either they'll say, well, I'm going on vacation and, all bets are off, or I'll start after vacation. Or it leaves them in this feeling like I can't do it because it's so hard because there's all these rules. And so I would challenge you to think if you're feeling like you're being held up by these restrictive rules. And if maybe you switched your mindset to this focus on abundance and looking at the foundation of what you consume and making sure that that is strong. If you build a strong foundation, it does wonders because that foundation of healing foods, they literally are healing. When we consume these foundational foods, when we consume an abundance of fruits and vegetables, when we consume intact whole grains, when we consume beans and legumes and nuts and seeds, and an abundance of herbs and spices, it supports a healthy gut. It supports decreasing inflammation. It supports a steady blood sugar. It improves our mood. It improves so many different things. So then we have a body, an environment. Our body environment is set up for healing. So it's more resilient to the other things. And so the key is really that foundation, because then when you have that strong foundation that you've built, then you can tolerate it. It's kind of like, if you built a house on stilts without any support beams and a big wind comes, it's going to knock it over. But if you build a concrete block house, then it's going to sustain a Category 5 hurricane. So maybe we're not going for a Category 5 hurricane, but you get what I mean? And the thing is, we also don't want to abandon those foundational foods when we go on vacation. So that was one of the tips I actually gave my patient today. I mean, we're working on it. She's going on vacation down the line, and she was just saying, when I go on vacation, I'm just going to have fun. And that's fine. I'm all about vacation and fun. And my brand is joy, joyful medicine. But when we fool ourselves into thinking that, especially as we get older, when we're less resilient, that we can just, let go of the foundation for 2 weeks or a week, we have to think that it's going to have a real effect. And that effect, it takes longer to recover from. And it's not really worth it, right? I think that maintaining that foundation, which I'll talk more about, like how we can go on vacation and enjoy the summer and enjoy going to a party and all of those things while still supporting our health. We can do both. It's not either or, it's both together. I think it's a very American idea, this idea of dieting instead of having a lifestyle that you can live and support. Often our lifestyle is another diet, and that's not really sustainable, because then you get into this pattern of, all or nothing thinking. So I was a little long. Let me know what you think.